Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. If you're watching this video in the Salah time, please pause it and go pray and come back when you're done. Please check out the description section of this video to support the channel. Okay, so Candace Owens and Andrew Tate just did another podcast together. To be honest, I expected more Islam and Christianity talk like in their previous collaboration, but I think they avoided this topic due to the huge amount of pushback Tate has received from Muslims recently in regards to some of his recent comments relating to immigration, Christianity and Islam. However, the highlight of the podcast for me was both Candace and Andrew speaking about the deprived layers of ill intent and corruption within Israeli politics, and how speaking up against it spills over into their personal lives, especially in regards to Candace. Let's take a look at the first clip.
Israel's our #1 ally and friend. That's an objectively, on its face, stupid statement to make.
They just repeat it. Someone comes up to me, Andrew Tate, Israel is your #1 ally. I said, well, they never paid my rent, so they're not my ally. They don't cut my grass. Now, what do they do for me? It turns out nothing. So who are they allies to? Well, are they allies to the government, who are also, it seems to be, my enemy? Are they allies to the people who I don't trust? When those senators who are robbing everybody and stealing all of the money and inflating the currency stand up and say they're our #1 ally, maybe they're your #1 ally because you can get an Israeli passport and disappear and hide because you're a pedophile. Maybe they're your ally, but they're certainly not mine. So why is anybody even repeating this trope? Whose ally are they?
Right, I said that. They protect pedophiles. They literally...
They're allied to the criminal class.
So I'm like, where is this coming from? They also performed a terrorist attack and got away with it because of, I'm assuming, the blackmail they have on politicians. But the USS Liberty, we can't even talk about that in America. Yep. It's like this no-go zone. You can't talk about that, or the press is going to label you an anti-Semite for knowing that they murdered and tried to get away with it by flying in planes, unmarked planes, and bombing the USS Liberty to drag us into their war with Egypt. Yep. That's not my ally. Not from a political standpoint, not from a personal standpoint. The second your state is protecting pedophiles and allowing them to escape from America after they've molested children, and then you go, oh, we'll keep them safe here. And on top of that, you get to take our tax dollars. We can't even extradite our pedophiles. And you, like, why are you saying that?
And isn't an ally reciprocal? Like, shouldn't it go both ways? Like, what do they do for us? I understand we fight their wars for them and we protect them and we give them weapons and we do everything they want. That's fine. They're surrounded by enemies for some reason. Nobody seems to like them. That's fine. What do they do for us? Ever. Anything. Ever. It's really...
No one can tell you.
No one can tell you. And then, of course, people are so emotionally invested in the idea of Israel. When you mention these things, they just repeat that trope. Well, they're our #1 ally. It's like, I think you need to first understand the word "are," who "are" is, and secondly, understand the word ally, because ally is supposed to go both ways.
You saw that both of them agree on how Israel is only an ally to the Western political class and not to the average person in the public, as it is us that have to foot the bill of the US and UK alliance with Israel through our taxes. Candace made the bold and quite shocking claim that Israel protects people that have committed horrific crimes against children by not allowing them to be extradited back to the US to face justice. She also claimed that Israel has dragged America into previous wars and that they even attacked a US Navy vessel in the past, which the media cover up with accusations of anti-Semitism if anyone mentions this incident. From what both Candace and Tate are saying, it seems as though Israel is a very powerful and corrupt nation that has a huge amount of influence over the US government, their economy, the mainstream media, and the justice system. That is very alarming. However, it does explain how they are able to get away with many atrocities we see them commit in Palestine. Let's look at the next clip where Candace speaks about how she was recently targeted by a Zionist while she was alone with her children.
Let's say the UK right now, where they're locking down everybody for telling the truth about the immigration, and they understand that the native people of the UK want to keep their country British and they want to protect it, and they completely understand that, but then they're against Gaza. And I'm like, to me, it's you either believe in people's ancestral right to their homeland and to defend it, or you don't. But people seem to always have this hypocrisy on certain issues. It's very interesting.
For me, and that offer was there. I mean, it was very clear to me that this is the one issue, if you don't talk about, well, you can maintain a comfortable life for you and your kids. But I just didn't like how many times I kept finding in the history of Israel and in the president of Israel defense for pedophiles. It just didn't work for me. Like, that Zionists were so hardcore about Israel, were defending pedophilia. I was at a restaurant the other day with children. This Zionist pretends to be a fan and then gets in my face with the camera and starts calling me an anti-Semite. I have pledged on the show, the only time I will ever get arrested is if you come up to me when I'm with kids. That is Mama Bear. That is like Mama Bear takes out the Papa Bear when you're with kids.
100%.
And so once I got someone to just like move the children, he's with his wife. Okay, his wife allowed him to do this. If my husband ever went up to a woman and children and he thought he's 6'3", gets in my
corrupt,
face,
yeah.
I got so close. I think he started realizing like I was going to fight him. Like I was literally just like, do you understand? Like I was so close to his face. I was like, you are a coward.
Yeah.
You are pathetic. I was like, I looked at his sons. I said, you should be ashamed of this. This is the opposite of what a man is.
Yeah.
His job, his instinct should be when he sees a woman and children to protect it.
100%.
I go, your father reads the New York Times, thinks everything of the New York Times tells him is real, and he suddenly got like, very kind of intimidated. I said, post the picture.
Yeah.
Post the video that you shot of me because I'm going to make you as famous as you want to be.
Yeah.
Still has not been posted. I said to his wife, you should be ashamed. You think this is a man to come up to children and a woman because you read something in the New York Times that told you Candace was an anti-Semite because she doesn't support Bibi Netanyahu blowing children to smithereens? Like that is your worldview now, that this means I hate all Jews? It's such a nonsense, but this is the average man now, where I was like, he needs to understand. This man needs to have his ass beat. And I say that in the most honest sense, like you should be required as a man to be in a fight.
Yeah.
Like because it changes something within you.
100%.
Because you think you're fighting a tough battle because you're walking up to a woman and children to talk about Bibi Netanyahu.
To defend the New York Times?
Yeah, but he would have never done that if it was you sitting with your daughter.
Never in a million years.
Because he would have realized right then, we're fighting right now.
That's right.
Firstly, I have to say it's unacceptable for grown men to be approaching women and children with the intent to harass, intimidate and humiliate them. From what Candace said, this Zionist or Zionist sympathizer pretended to be a fan and filmed her while she was on her own with her kids at a restaurant whilst hurling insults at her. This is straight up weird and creepy behaviour. Let's be honest, Israel's shameless normalisation of targeting Palestinian women and children over the last year with no consequences unconsciously emboldens their supporters to do the same thing. Credit to Candace for getting her kids to safety and being brave enough to confront this man, and for shaming him for his horrible, inconsiderate and immoral behaviour. However, I personally think she put herself in danger by doing so, and that most women would have just left the venue with their kids, which is probably the best thing to do under these circumstances. It says a lot about the lack of moral character of this man to do such a thing, and Candace was right for saying that his wife and kids should be ashamed of him. What kind of cowardly man confronts women and children over political views? And she was also right when she said he would not have did the same thing to a man, and that says it all about these cowards. The Zionists and their supporters prey on what they perceive to be weakness, and that's just plain despicable. Tate also made the point that it's hypocritical for people that call themselves patriots to want to defend their homelands, but at the same time being against the people of Gaza wanting to do the same thing. In my opinion, nationalists in Western nations are not facing the same hardships as Palestinians, and their artificially constructed struggle to defend their land is fueled by prejudice, whereas the Palestinian struggle is literally about their very survival. Hence why these so-called patriots will never understand, as they relate more with the Israeli oppressors. Candace also spoke about receiving lucrative money offers from Zionists to stay quiet about Israel, which would have made life a lot easier for her. However, she made the decision to turn them down because she had discovered the depths of evil they had stooped to. This speaks volumes about her character and morals, as she chose to turn down the money and take the more dangerous option simply because it's the right thing to do. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it would have been good to see these two discuss Christianity and Islam, and for Andrew Tate to make an apology for his prejudicial comments regarding South Asian Muslims. But again, it seems he wants to avoid these topics due to previous backlash. Thank you for watching. Make sure to join my free Telegram group via the link in the description, where we as Muslims can speak freely and without censorship about issues like this, and in order to guide and support each other in our deen. And remember to like, subscribe and become a channel member for access to exclusive content. Until next time, inshallah, Jazakallah khair.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allah.